This is for you.
I think everyone's here.
Everyone's here. Okay. Now, those of you who are sitting next to the camera, by the way, the noises that you make on that desktop. Hi, Mr. Baldbrell. Hi. How are you? Fine. How are you? I'm pretty good. Anyway, when you post on these forums, do you see everybody else's answers before you post?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to change that. I can make it so that you have to answer first, and then you can see everybody else's answers. So there's a way to do that. And that's obviously more useful, because you don't see what other people are saying. You like, what was most interesting to me? And then once you do that, then you can read other people's. Those of you who don't feel like you're very strong writers or historical thinkers, please notice that one reason that I have you do this instead of your own Google Doc is that I want you to read each other's ways of thinking and writing and such. And I will tell you that many people in this room are doing college level writing simply in these forums. She is, she is, she is, she is. He could. She is, he is. You could do more. You could do more. You're pretty good. She is. You could do more. But so notice you can just like really compare your own writing to other people's writing. There's value in that. Just like, what can I learn from, like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? You get A's for doing this thing, but notice in some classes and on test papers you won't get A's for simply writing a paragraph. So in the future I will learn how to make that forum not let you see other people's things until after. Okay. Now back to our question. The question is this: how can the Shujing be like the Bible? Well, here's how. How is it not like the Bible? You tell me how it's not like the Bible. It is. It does have the status of Bible to the ancient Chinese and the traditional Chinese up until 100 years ago. So it has the status of the Bible, but that means that that's a similarity, but there are very important differences here. How many differences can you think when you think of the status of the Bible and its role in Western culture versus the status of the Book of Documents? Jot a quick little list down and see how many you can pat yourself on the back for. What are the important differences in the Shujing as a canonical authoritative text? Should not be writing full sentences. You should just be jotting down fragments that label your ideas in little bullets. So what do we got? That's enough time. Maybe 4 or 5 important differences. What's the first difference? Start the conversation and call each other. I'll see what's...
With the Shujing, there's no God or heavenly entity.
Shujing, not Shujing. We're talking, I'm sorry, I said continue. Yesterday was Shujing. Today, I want to get to the Book of Documents. Shujing. That's got the mandate of heaven in it. That's got, ouch, the overthrow the Joe.
Then I'm off.
I'm sorry about that. But it could go to either one. I mean, the Shujing itself has similar importance. All of these are the Confucian classics. There are 5 of them, and they have all the same status in a sense as the Bible. So, go.
I think most of the Shujing is about actual history versus traditional history. Whereas if you look at the Old Testament of the Bible, most of it is just traditional history. But I could be wrong.
A lot of it is, but once you get to the time of well, actually, King David has even been contested. Some people say that Jerusalem was not the capital and he didn't do that, blah, 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 because it was written much later. Take a different one. I've got to get rid of that cup.
I think also the Shujing doesn't
Make demands of the reader. There are no commandments.
thou shalt and thou shalt nots. What else? There's another important difference that you're dancing around. What's the difference between the source of the authorities of the two texts?
The Shujing doesn't claim to be in any part a divine revelation.
Do you think that's an important difference? One is God revealed this, the creator of the universe revealed this. That's the Hebrew and Judeo-Christian and on into Islam and on into the Book of Mormon. Divine revelation. Was it Gabriel who recited the Quran to?
Yep.
The angel of God came and revealed revelation. So these are revealed scriptures. Is it important that the Shujing makes no such claims to be from any divine source?
It's from, it could be from multiple sources rather than being a word of God.
Anybody else see any? They're both from multiple sources.
The Shujing is more naturalistic than the Bible, and Abrahamic other examples are more supernatural or deistic.
And so what practical differences does one claiming to be of divine origin and one claiming to simply be a historical record of excellent men? What practical difference will that make for the remainder of the history of the two civilizations as they relate to these texts? How does one relate to a text revealed by God versus how does one relate to a text reporting the history of a great dynasty?
I suppose a history is more contestable, I guess, than if it's the word of God, you take it more at face value, but you could study and question and explore historical text more. I mean, it could work the other way around too.
So, but simply put, say it again. You just undercut it by saying it could work the other way around.
No,
The first point that you're making is,
That
and put it simply,
if it's, you don't question the word of God, but if it's historical record, you can explore it and study it and contest it, I guess.
Just to put it another way, maybe God gives you rules and the Shujing gives you examples.
Yeah.
sorry, don't be distracted by that. It's a bit of silliness. Yes, that's an autographed portrait of Seth Qureshi. He just gave it to me and I'm very honored. It's like the last time I was so excited was when I got one from Justin Bieber. All right. What do you think of this side of the room? What do you think of the answers so far?
I kind of agree with what they said, and something similar is that like the Shujing says how things are, but the Bible says how things should be.
But I was saying also the Bible also, like, it's a collection of stories, so I don't think it is also giving examples.
This is true. The Bible is also claims to be a historical text, even though much of it is traditional history. And the Shujing, much of it's traditional history too. Again, the Yao Shun and Yu that you're going to be reading, that is traditional because that's pre-writing. That goes back 1,000 years before writing. We've already talked about that. So it's very important to remember. We'll come back to that in ways that I haven't taught it before, because I've discovered more since I started teaching this class about these texts and what we now think about them, which makes things more interesting, but you don't know what I'm talking about, and you won't until we finish. Okay, well, I guess I will wrap it up by making the claim that yes, it seems to me a very important difference here is just because it's in the Shujing doesn't mean that you can't disagree with it, because it's just history, and nothing's going to punish you for being evil. No divine force is going to punish you for disagreeing with the Shujing. But if you disagree with or say bad things about the Bible, then you're angering a divine force that might indeed punish you. Or worse yet, punish your whole people, nation, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the idea, but I also was hesitant to say that the Bible or the Old Testament isn't something that can be questioned, because I know that in yeshiva, for instance, when there are Jewish scholars studying to be rabbis, a big part of their learning is questioning and contesting and questioning both the book and God to try to discover why things are the way they are written. So that's why I was hesitant to say that it made the Bible something that was just uncontestable.
That you could not challenge.
Yeah.
Right. And you're right. And Mariam, this is very similar to the discussion that's going on between me and you in the discussion board right now, the forum, about the fact that the Chinese have nothing to apologize for or explain away that disturbs us. There is never in the Chinese ancient literature. Now, let me clarify a couple of things from the discussion boards if you're not reading my responses to different people. The Duke of Zhou, during the Civil War, he did say very strongly, I will execute anybody who threatens the order of this place. I will apply the law with no mercy and kill people who disturb the consolidation, the order of this new dynasty. Times are dire, peace and order are important, and the law will be mercilessly applied if people do not accept the new order, full stop. So he did use law, but he didn't want to. And law was always considered a very, very inferior option compared to virtue. Carrot, not stick, in plain language. Carrot, not stick. Reward loyalty. Reward the people. Earn their loyalty. Don't punish them and threaten them together. Yes?
Okay, I don't know much about the Bible, but maybe one difference between the Shujing and the Bible is that the Shujing kind of highlights virtuosity as a way of life, whereas the Bible highlights that your faith in God and your following of the things that He has told you or the things that He has shared with you is the way to achieving a happy life.
What do you think of that? Perhaps. That's a very interesting hypothesis. What do you guys think of that? That the Shujing highlights virtue and the Bible highlights worship of the one true God as the mark of goodness, what you believe and how you serve. What do you think of that?
Well, yeah, of course the Shujing does highlight virtuosity, but if you look at the Abrahamic text, in a sense the next best thing, and when I say this I don't really mean it as it's obviously ranked, but virtuosity, morality, or being a good person in general is very, very high ranked in the Abrahamic religions as well. Though they do put a bigger, they do put a bigger importance on being religious and like faith and stuff.
It's a different kind of virtue, I think, because the examples, good people in the Bible, do service to God, whereas the examples in the Shujing, like one, they do service to their state. So I guess there's just a different emphasis there.
Let's look at it. These are the most important 10 commandments revealed to Moses in order. There it is. If you read this analytically, I'm not asking you to memorize them, I'm asking you to look at them and identify some very interesting things that are basic knowledge to people who have actually thought for 5 minutes about it. Read them and ask, what is a good person? What's most important to this God? How much of this is about being a good person? And how much about this is about something else? Let everybody think for 30, 40 seconds.
first 4 looks like it has to do with God specifically, but most of it from like 5 to 10 looks more about keeping order than being a good person. Kind of like what you'd see in laws nowadays.
Not sinning.
Also, only 2 of them are about things you should do,
So you should honor your parents.
and you should keep the Sabbath day holy, which doesn't really have to do with being a good person. But the rest are some pretty basic, don't kill people, don't steal things. But
Don't
doesn't say
lie.
what
That's
you
number
should
9.
do.
Bear false witness. That means lie. Particularly in court, like falsely accuse somebody of doing something they didn't do. And covet means
To crave and gluttony.
especially be greedy or envious towards others. Oh, they've got 7 bronze vessels. I've only got 6. I covet their 7th. I want 7. Oh, she's got a $10,000 handbag. I only got an $8,000. I covet her $10,000 handbag. I can't believe the handbag thing. When I discovered that my wife had an $8,000 handbag that she didn't ask me to buy, and I'm the bread owner, I was like, what? There's $8,000 handbags? What? I had no idea. And she's like going out and buying an $8,000 handbag on my money, right? Anyway, because she covets handbags. WTF? Exclamation point, question mark, interrobang? Now, yeah, and so, what do we think of Amy's hypothesis? Does the Shujing teach different in terms of goodness? What's goodness according to the 10 most important things God had to tell Moses to tell us when he revealed these laws to Moses? The first 4, listen to me, worship me. Don't worship any other gods, worship me. Don't make idols, worship me. I'm not a statue. Don't you dare take my name in vain. Don't bust out the GD. Don't say by God in swears. And because I rested on the 7th day, you rest on the 7th day. This is all about worshiping God. Be good to your parents. What do we see about these? Now you were close to it, and this is interesting, and these connections are worth actually like recording for when we get to Chinese philosophy and so forth. Because how would you almost characterized it. How would you most specifically characterize don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't lie in court?
Don't be a terrible person.
What types of utterances are these? Societal orders. What's a basic word for, where do we see this type of language today? Laws. This is legalism. This is legalism. These are my laws, and they're called the laws of Moses. Okay? God's making laws. Moses is the lawgiver in the Jewish tradition. Now you might be going, duh, laws. But no, not duh. Because that's one way to try to make people good. It's the stick. You break the law, I will punish you with the stick. So we see legalism here. Have we seen, and now we just said that the Duke of Zhou also said, I will enforce the law.
But you said that he didn't want to, and that he preferred to earn people's respect and
Through what? Through what? And we talked about that last class.
doing virtuous
Yeah, what's the Chinese word for that? This is a
duh or li.
li. And it's li, ritual propriety.
Yeah.
Ritual propriety, L-I. I think it's, what tone is that? 3?
Li.
I think it's
It's
you were
3.
right.
It's 3.
3? Anyway, okay. And through one way to have duh. So how does a person have this virtue that makes everybody go, dude, you don't have to order me, you don't have to command, I'll do it for you. How does one do that? What's one way to have duh? How do you get duh? Isn't li one way?
To treat people nicely.
To be just in good form, ritual propriety.
Respect them and they respect you.
Enjoy your tea. I want you to enjoy this tea. And you enjoy your tea too. Well, if you don't have any, let me get you some more. Right? That's li. And it's You'd have to be a real dirtbag to like go out and stab me in the back when I'm sitting here trying to be the best, most caring and considerate person I can. Yada yada, right? Duh comes from that. Lee and duh. And so we're preparing for Confucius here, who AP and schools generally, tragically cheapen, simplify, and so forth. And all of this is preparation for Confucianism. So that's the first thing. Confucius is very big on Li as a path to duh. Ritual from the heart, not just empty form. Not just empty form as a path to duh. And law, as we'll see, Confucius has very bad things to say about law, because it doesn't bring out the best in us, it brings out the worst in us. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Afro-Eurasian continent, on the other radical extreme, law. Notice God is nowhere here is there really any sort of like, love me.
It's like forced.
Be nice to people.
Well, it sounds like it's forced that you
How would the Duke of Joe write a Ten Commandments? That's a really interesting question to get creative with, right? No, it wouldn't be 10 Commandments. What would be the 10 most important statements that the Duke of Joe would write in order to make people good? You know, this is, and the Shujing is, Yao Shun and you are an answer to that. Because that's a traditional history where they, really, that's a beautiful way to read Yao Shun and you. How do we make people good? I want to very quickly, these are things left over from last class. The Invocator. You remember the Invocator? Who's the Invocator? Remind each other that you know who the Invocator was.
No.
Remind each other.
No, he's the one who like brings in the ancestors. He calls up the ancestors.
Yeah, and then the father.
Okay, some people are saying priest. How many of you agree that that's a good word for what the Invocator is doing?
It's like an ancestor calling.
Who can challenge the rightness of the word priest to describe the Invocator? Who can say no? I disagree with that because.
The boy prince has more of a connection to the ancestors than the Invocator does.
Yeah.
And the priest is supposed to be the one who like directly communes with God for the people.
Yeah, the priest has like, it's like I'm the holy person here, right? No, the Invocator and the family is the holy unit, right? I mean, this whole thing's about family. If you haven't noticed, family is God in this culture. The place of God in the West is at the pinnacle of everything that's good. That's not here when Tien replaces Shangdi. And even when Shangdi was there, what was central? What was like what do you call the top of the keystone? The capstone? What's the capstone of the whole moral order? That stone at the very top that keeps the entire arch in place. Keystone. Thank you, the keystone. It's family. Because Shangdi is related to the royal family and ancestors and sons and all sort of thing, right? The rituals are for family. Family takes the place of God in this culture, and it still does today. Just go down to the Hawker Center and you'll see grandpa, grandma, aunts, uncles, sons, grandsons, cousin. So the Invocator's role, though, not priestly. Because where's God? Priests have to do with God. Where's God here? So I don't think priest is a very good thing. Using that shows me that you're not. So what's a better name for him in terms of rituals and ceremonies?
MC.
Thank you. MC stands for what?
A master of ceremonies.
They're ceremony masters. What's another word for ceremony?
Ritual.
Ritual. They're ritual masters.
They're MRs.
Well, this is the key point. Ceremony, ritual, same thing.
Yeah.
And they do need a master to host it and make sure that it goes properly. I conduct it. But there's no God here, so I'm not a priest. This is a very special social class. It's a unique social class. You're hearing this, aren't you? I know that this is a horrible day, but hear this because this is hugely important. What qualities and skills does a master of ceremonies need in this culture?
Good at talking.
Anybody can talk.
Good poetry.
Good connection to people.
Trustworthy? Why can't a peasant do this?
No connection to the family.
Yeah. If
So a peasant can't do it.
Why can't a 5-year-old do it who is part of the family and is not a peasant?
They don't know enough about it.
Okay, and how do you like know how to do all this stuff? Oh hell, I'll cut to the chase. You've got to be able to read. They're actually reading. Notice, what you read was a script. The Invocator like recites lines that are written down in the Book of Psalms. The Invocator has a script. He recites lines. I'm the master of ceremonies. It is time to invite the ancestors. The spirits are drunk, he announces.
Plus, if you write it down, then you can make sure that it's more perfect. And
That's right, that's right.
Okay.
And how many, everything is ordered just so. The correct number of baskets, the correct number of bronze vessels. Well, what is the correct number and how do we know? We write these things down, oh, trust me, right? Because everything does have to be just so and without error. And so that requires record keeping of a very uniquely Chinese sort. Keeping strict records on how to do these rituals. Not that unique, actually. The Jews were the same way. They were a very ritual culture. There are 630 odd commandments in the Bible. These are only the most important ones. The others are all about ritual. How do you slaughter a calf for the sacrifice at the temple of God? Well, you grab it this way and you cut it that way, not the other way, right? You do it on this day, not that day. They're all written down. The Jews are very ritualistic people. Right? There's a lot of Venn diagram stuff going on with the ancient Hebrews and the ancient Chinese and those knew it. They're both very into the books and reading and literacy and study of books. They're similar that way. They're both very ritualistic. They're similar that way. But one's monotheistic and one's non-theistic. Okay, so the Invocator, in any case. I've given you the term before, but let me give it to you one last time because this is clearly you have to be a person with specialized knowledge on this, don't you? You have to have specialized knowledge of ceremony and ritual to be a master of ritual. There's more than just ancestor rituals. There's all sorts of rituals in this culture. There's diplomatic rituals. There's archery rituals. When those guys got drunk after the ancestors left yesterday, and then they went to the after party, and the boys just got all wasted together. Picture them like sleeping it off and waking up the next day for yet another, because this is a big event. Everybody's traveled from all over China again. They don't just come for one day. They come for like a good couple of weeks maybe of tightening bonds so that we don't end up having civil war and such. So we're going to do all sorts of activities together, including archery contests. And you can bet your bottom dollar that we have, let me cut to the chase. Oh, here's the perfect opportunity to bring up the lost Confucian classic. What do you think it's called? It's a jing. So now, I've sort of introduced and hinted what I'm about to grab off the shelf. A classic now of what? Li Jing, yes. Cover, so, no, that's ritually proper. It is. Oh. Now, tragically, what?
Oh, I just asked if it's lost, how come you haven't called it?
Oh, because this is the Li Ji, the record of rituals, not there's a Zhou Li that's lost, Zhou rituals. We have references to it from other books. They talk about the Zhou Li, the record of rituals, but we don't have it. And then there was a Li Jing. There was also a Yue Jing, classic of music. It's lost. That kills me. That kills all of us because the Chinese views on music, Matthew, you asked about it. We're still getting there. So in any case, this is all about like, okay, when a boy reaches his 13th birthday, what's the ritual and how do you do it? the capping ritual when a boy is born. What's the ritual for like how you do that? And you've heard about those rituals, right? The Chinese still do them. Little boys, what do? They put 3 things in front of them when they're born. They do it in Korea too.
Yep. And they choose one item.
And the 3 things are
Money.
money,
A brush.
a brush,
And is it
Cake.
a bowl of bread?
a sword, I believe, a weapon of some sort.
There's a cake.
Now there's cake to show if your kid's gonna be greedy.
Be what?
Greedy.
Oh, that's what the money's for.
Oh.
So you're either going to be a merchant, a scholar, or a general, right?
I thought the money was to show they'll be rich.
Okay, you know what? That could be true. That could be true. I could be off on that. But in any case, the master of ceremonies. To get back to that, here's your last note for here. Two last notes. The master of ceremonies really does have to be able to read and conduct the ceremonies in the classics of ritual. And that means he has to be literate. And that means that's a special class, not a priest class, but what is called the Shur. And I'll write that. I've already drawn it for you once, but I'll bust out the old. This, here it is. Yeah, that.
The what? Oh.
S-H-I, Shur. This is the class of ritual masters, and Confucius is one. He's not born yet, but he's one. Why does Confucius love ritual so much? Because he has he's a master of all these texts. He does these rituals. He understands the duh involved in them, how they keep people close. On. Please rinse your cups.
Give us a round.
You're welcome. Okay, so annotate your Shujing for us for a discussion next time.
Okay.
You're going to talk in the discussion next time, right?
Yes, I will watch it.
You need to. This is for a grade. You're going to talk in the discussion next time. It's for a grade. 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 Maybe this, maybe that. I'm not sure, but they're all fine. One thing I noticed was.
Thank you, Mr. Rath.
Thanks, bye. Yes. I'm willing to read if I'm free, and I'm not sure if I'm free.
There's a tournament on
So
Saturday.
I'm decent with Latin.
Hydrophobic.
Yeah, I'm perfect, but I'll probably be better than you. If I do say so.
Feels like we've been gone for so long.
You've heard me do science. I don't do
Yeah,
that
you
bad.
heard. Some teachers don't really like video technical science.
Oh,
They're all intense.
okay. How long is it?
I mean, we have 2 shifts as usual in the morning shift. We do like 9 to 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I can probably do it. So, but just send me a reminder on the email,
Okay.
or better still, a Google Calendar invitation.
No, it doesn't.
Do you have
It's been about
people
an hour.
slotted for afternoon or morning yet?
Not too many yet.
Okay, all right. Well, give me the slots that are open, and I will yes or no Google Calendar invitation.
Huh.
Discovered some free
Long time no see.
Ooh.
Are we here books today?
This is ancient.
Let's do that.
Don't think that they
Ancient text.
Hey guys.
In your bag.
Oh.
Is it really?
I don't think it's Egyptian.